Chapter 10 Procreate 4.1 What's new? Procreate 4.1 has some new features. In this chapter I'll explain all the new features. I'm just going from left to right to show you the new updates. Drawing Guide. The perspective guide is now called Drawing Guide. You can toggle it on and then press on Edit Drawing Guide. You can immediately see the difference and what's new. On the top you have 4 drawing guides to choose from: 2D Grid, Isometric, Perspective and Symmetry. 2D Grid. The 2D Grid is new to Procreate 4. It is a handy tool to draw logos and flat designs. Below the 4 buttons there's a color slider. With this slider you can change the color of the grid. Inside the preview window you see 2 dots, a blue dot in the middle of the window and a green dot on the top of the window. You can drag the green dot and change the horizon of your 2D grid. Stayf tip. Unfortunately, it does not snap back to the vertical settings, so if you want to use the 2D grid in a 180 degrees angle, then don't touch the green dot. On the bottom of the screen you have 3 sliders and a toggle to adjust the 2D grid. Thickness. With thickness you can change the thickness of the grid. Slide it to the left to make it thinner, and slide it to the right to make it thicker. Opacity. With the opacity slider you can change the opacity of the grid. Slide to the left to bring down the opacity and slide to the right to have your opacity to 100%. Assisted Drawing Toggle. Turn on the Assisted Drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to Assisted Drawing. When you toggle it on, you don't have to go to the Layers panel and assign your layer to Assisted Drawing. Grid Size. Change the size of your grid by dragging the slider to the left to make it smaller, and drag it to the right to make it bigger. On the right you see the number of pixels the grid size has. Isometric. The isometric grid is new to Procreate. It is a grid that has no vanishing points. It is a 2-point perspective and both lines are set in a 30-degree angle. This perspective is used a lot in 2D game design. On top you can change the color of the grid with the slider. Underneath you see the adjustment sliders. Thickness to adjust the thickness of the grid. Opacity to adjust the opacity of the grid. Assisted Drawing Toggle. Turn on the Assisted Drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to Assisted Drawing on your layer. Perspective. The perspective grid has not changed a lot. What's new is the color slider to change the color of your grid and the Assisted Drawing toggle. Symmetry. Symmetry is a cool new grid in Procreate 4.1. You can create mirrored images and mandalas with it. You have 4 different symmetry grids to choose from: horizontal, vertical, quadrant and radial. Horizontal. When you tap on horizontal, you can edit your horizontal grid. Everything you draw on the top part of your canvas will be mirrored on the bottom part of the canvas and vice versa. On top you can change the color of the grid. Below you find the adjustment sliders and 2 toggles. Thickness to adjust the thickness of the grid. Opacity to adjust the opacity of the grid. Assisted Drawing Toggle. Turn on the Assisted Drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to the Assisted Drawing on your layer. Rotational Symmetry Toggle. When you toggle on the Rotational Symmetry toggle, everything that you draw will be mirrored horizontal, but also on the opposite side. Vertical. When you tap on Vertical, you can edit your vertical grid. Everything you draw on the left side of your canvas will be mirrored on the right side of the canvas and vice versa. On top you can change the color of the grid. Below you find the adjustment slider and 2 toggles. Thickness, to adjust the thickness of the grid. Opacity, to adjust the opacity of the grid. Assisted drawing toggle. Turn on the assisted drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to the assisted drawing on your layer. Rotational symmetry toggle. When you turn on the radial symmetry toggle, everything that you'll draw will be mirrored vertical, but also on the opposite side. Quadrant. When you tap on Quadrant, you can edit your quadrant grid. Your image is divided in 4 equal parts. When you draw in one part, the image will be mirrored in the other 3 parts. It doesn't matter in which part you draw. The image will be mirrored. On top you can change the color of the grid. Below you find the adjustment sliders and 2 toggles. Thickness to adjust the thickness of the grid. Opacity to adjust the opacity of the grid. Turn on the assisted drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to assisted drawing on your layer. Rotational symmetry toggle. When you turn on the radial symmetry toggle, everything you draw will be drawn in a circular or rotational way in all of the 4 parts. Radial. When you tap on Radial, you can edit your radial grid. Your canvas is divided into 8 parts. When you draw in one part, the image will be mirrored in the other 7 parts, and vice versa. It doesn't matter in which part you draw, the image will be mirrored. On top you can change the color of the grid. Below you find the adjustment sliders and 2 toggles. Thickness to adjust the thickness of the grid. Opacity to adjust the opacity of the grid. Assisted drawing toggle. Turn on the assisted drawing toggle to instantly assign the layer to assisted drawing on your layer. Rotational symmetry toggle. When you turn on the rotational symmetry toggle, everything you draw will be drawn in a circular or rotational way in all of the 8 parts. Liquify. Liquify is a cool new feature in Procreate 4.1. With Liquify you can push, twirl, pinch and expand your image without destroying pixels or getting cutoff lines in your artwork. When you tap on the Adjustments button, you can open up Liquify by tapping on the name. A new window opens with the adjustment sections below the screen. On top, you find sliders to adjust the size and the pressure of your brush. You have 6 adjustment modes: push, reconstruct, twirl clockwise, twirl counterclockwise, pinch, and expand. Push. When you select push, you can push your image around. You can push smaller parts around when your brush is smaller. With a bigger brush, you cover a bigger area to push around. Reconstruct. With Reconstruct, you can reconstruct the adjustments you have made with Liquify. Use this to make small changes to your adjustments. Twirl clockwise. With Twirl clockwise, you can make adjustments in a twirl motion. You can either tap on a selection of your image to make small adjustments, or keep your finger or stylus on the screen for a flowing twirl. Twirl counterclockwise. With Twirl counterclockwise, you can make adjustments in the twirl motion counterclockwise. Pinch. With pinch you can pinch the image and make it smaller. With a smaller brush you can make small adjustments. Choose a bigger brush to make a larger part of your image smaller. Expand. With Expand you can bloat your image and make parts bigger. Adjust. When you select Adjust, a new slider appears. The Adjust slider. With this slider you can adjust the strength adjustments you have made. Reset. Press on Reset to reset all your Liquify adjustments you've made and return to the original image. Timelapse video export. When you go to Actions and tap on Export Timelapse video, you can now choose between a full-length time-lapse or a time-lapse of 30 seconds. This is a great option if you want to share a short time-lapse on social media. Gesture controls. The gesture controls menu has changed. When you tap on Actions and select the Prefs tab and then tap on Gesture Controls, you open the new window. You will see the difference. All the controls that you can assign the gestures are on the left side. You can assign each control to your own desire. A new control is Layer Select. With Layer Select, you can now select a layer from the canvas, but you first need to assign a gesture to it. For this example, I choose Apple Pencil while holding the square to invoke Layer Select. If you have a canvas with a lot of layers, this new feature will come in handy. When you press on the little square with one finger and slide over your canvas with your Apple Pencil, the layer will appear with a small thumbnail where you can see the content of your layer. Sometimes you see two layers appear. Tap on the layer you want to work in and start drawing. With Layer Select, you don't have to leave your canvas to go to a layer you want to select. Export brush sets. You can now share a brush set. Go to the Brushes section and select the brush set you want to share. Tap on the brush set name. A pop-up window appears with three options: Rename, Delete, and Share. Tap on Share to share the brush set. You can now share it to a variety of options. Quicklime improvement. Quicklime has been improved. When you now use Quicklime by drawing a line and hold it, you will create a straight line. When you let go, you see a thin blue line inside your straight line with 3 blue points. You can pull the points by dragging them to the position you want from either side. The middle point you can use to drag the quicklime into the position you want. Color Invert. There's a new layer option, Color Invert. When you tap on a layer, the layer options pop up. Tap on Layer Invert to invert the color of your layer. If you have drawn something in black, Invert Color will invert it to white and vice versa. If you want to invert another color, it will invert it to an opposite color. There's a new feature in the Transform tool. So when you press on Transform, you see that the menu has changed a little bit, but the new feature is Warp. So if you want to, for instance, make this text in a more of a circular motion, then you just can press the handles and warp it around your image. And there's just a lot of handles you can push, to make this work. So this is a great new feature, especially when you want to add some structure to an object. This is a cool new feature, and there's also an advanced mesh, and then you get a lot more handles, so you can make slider adjustments to it. So this is a great new add for the Transform tool.